Hi everybody, it's Joni Young here. Welcome back to my channel for another painting tutorial. I'm really excited to announce that we are releasing my brushes, my set of brushes for the third time. This is the third and final release of these brushes. This is your very last chance to get these. There's only 300 available, and I just wanted to show you guys a quick tutorial demonstrating how to use these beautiful cruelty-free brushes. I designed them myself, and Craftimo produced them, and they ship them worldwide. So here we have a 1-inch mop brush, a 20 flat, 14 filbert, a 3 round, and a 2 rigger. So my go-to brushes, these can take you so far with your paintings, and if you're a beginner, intermediate, professional painter, these are great brushes for you. I love using them. You can see these are well used. There's paint on them. They do wash very nicely. I must say, I just haven't washed these off, but I want to show you this beautiful box that they come in with one of my paintings around on the box. Now this painting here in particular, I have a full tutorial of using these brushes as well. Now it's a nice magnet lid, and when you open it, you see the information here, and I have a print I'm including in the box of brushes that you all get, one of my prints of my paintings, and there's some information on the back here for you. And then this is what the box looks like with the brushes inside. But this is a black velvet box. It's just a really beautiful way to display the brushes. So I want to mention that these are available now. There's only 300 available. I'm going to have the link below, www.craftimo.com, where you can purchase them now as of April 26th, 2024. Let's go ahead and get started with this painting tutorial. We have Dioxazine Violet, Amethyst, Phthalo Turquoise, and Aqua Green, bright Aqua Green. You're using a little bit of Luminous Lemon Yellow, Luminous Opera. The first brush you'll need is the 20 flat brush. I'm going to take some white, some yellow, and I'm just going to start adding it right over here on the right side, kind of up and down and a little diagonal like this. Let's take a little bit more. I'm going to start to curve it over, kind of create this backwards C shape. And we're just going to continue along. And then I'm going to come in right here on the left side. Curving into that, curving this way, so then we end up creating a little egg shape. I'm going to add a little bit of water to my brush, and I'm going to take some pink now, along with that yellow and white, and I'm going to start adding little bits of this here and there, not to cover up all of the yellow, just to start adding to it, including it in this color palette. A little bit of water again will really help. I'm going to scoop up the rest of the yellow with a little bit of pink, and I'm going to start adding it closer to the center. A little bit of water again. I'm just going to work out the rest of the paint. There's not a lot left in my brush. And pull back and forth, side to side. So now we've created a focal point already, this being the focal point and just the direction of the brush strokes kind of drawing us into this area here. This could be a lake, a pond, or a path at this point, even a field. Now the next color I'm going to take is a little bit of my Phthalo turquoise. I want to thank Holbein Artist Materials for generously sending me all their beautiful acrylic heavy body paints that are my favorite ones. Okay, so we've made a pretty purple here. It's very similar. This is a little bit warmer, this is a little bit cooler. Purple, again, phthalo turquoise and the neon pink. And I'm just going to start coming right down here and pulling side to side. And then I'm going to start to, instead of absolutely straight, we're going to start scooping lightly, bringing that down a little bit. We will from this side too. The idea is to add some shadows along the side here and not completely cover the light that we have. I'm going to take some more of this paint and I'm going to pull in right off the edge of the canvas, making it a little darker. And then with the end of my brush, I'm going to loop around, just kind of travel around. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of water on my brush. The rest of the pink in there. With a bit of water on my brush, I'm going to just pull and lightly flick up. I'm going to make them taller right down here on the right side. I'm going to take some of that amethyst with my blue, a little bit of water, and I'm going to come in here on an angle, pull, and start coming in and adding some big trees. Leaning trees, trees that are straight up and down. Now you can do this on a wet canvas, so the paint underneath is partially still wet for me, but you can also apply these tree trunks on top of a dry canvas, so it's just fine either way. Okay, I'm going to rinse this brush out, and I'm going to take some of the deep Dioxazine Violet now, and I'm going to come along the right side on this bigger tree here. I'm going to go right on the edge of the canvas. And then curve and bring it out. Make it a little bit bigger than the rest. And then we'll add a little bit to the rest of the trees. I'm just going to tap the rest out over part of the blue and the base of these trees. I'm going to rinse this brush out, and I'm going to demonstrate the round brush. This is a number 3 round brush. And I'm going to take a little bit of the phthalo turquoise, a little bit of white, and the purple. Let's take a little bit of the amethyst too. So all 3 of those colors. You really want to have the paint on the tip of your brush. And we're going to come in here and add a little bit of pressure, apply a little bit of pressure, gently push, wiggle, and we're going to add some large branches here because this tree, we're going to make them a little thicker because this tree is bigger. A little bit of water as well, just to help thin the paint out a little bit so that you're able to really pull that paint out of your brush and leave a decent amount on the canvas. Otherwise it'll be too dry and you won't be able to go very far with your paint. Even though you might have a lot of paint in your brush, the water will help release it, especially for painting branches like this. So let's just add one right here that kind of curves over, twist and roll, and then let off on the pressure. Gently pushing for thicker areas and then letting off for thinner ones. Okay, and then I'm just going to continue. We'll add some branches back here. On each of these trees, we're going to be adding some leaves and foliage as well, but we need to have a little bit of these branches visible. This one coming up and kind of going over and then down. Don't forget about the branches on the other side of the tree trunk. Okay, so we've used 2 of the 5 brushes so far. Now we're going to use a third one. This is my number 2 rigger brush or long liner brush. I'm going to get it wet, get those bristles nice and tight together, and we're going to work on some thinner branches for these trees here. I'm going to take some white, some that beautiful phthalo turquoise, a little bit of amethyst, a little bit of water, and we're just going to go back for a little bit more water when you need it. With a liner brush, you really will I always tell my students it's really effective. If you're a little bit nervous and shaky, you can use that to make some great looking branches. I'm going to take a little bit of white, a little bit more of the white. And we can add a little bit of that over part of these branches in this tree trunk. Okay, go back over to more of the phthalo turquoise, a little bit of water, and just start adding more and more branches. I'm going to take a little bit of white and the bright aqua green. And start to layer over, gently wiggling and pulling it down into that path. I'll rinse this out. Okay, now we're going to introduce the mop brush. I love using mop brushes for my landscapes, and there's many different ways to use a mop brush and how to load it. I have a tutorial where I kind of just do a deep dive and zoom in on a mop brush, how to use it, how to load it. Very simple, straight to the point tutorial. I've done that, in fact, with every brush just about I can think of. So I have a playlist for those. You might want to check that out. And there's more on Patreon as well. For this technique, you're not going to need water at all on the brush, not until you want to wash the brush out. We're going to apply the paint to the brush dry. And you want to tap, so I'm going to go in with a little bit of purple first, the dark, deep dark, beautiful Dioxazine violet. Tap to load the brush. This way you keep that shape and the bristles a little bit separate. And I'm going to start over on this side. I want to see the pretty colors in the background, but I do want this to be darker on either side so that we get drawn into more of the focal point, which is the light source here. So we're just going to choose a few areas. You really don't have to spend a lot of time, overthinking. I'm going to take some of the Amethyst kind of bluey color we made over here, add that to my brush now, and we're just going to start adding that, and it's going to get lighter as we get closer. As we get closer to the center. I'm going to add a little bit of a turquoise now without washing my brush out. This is the bright aqua green turquoise, and I'm going to come on this side. Now I've got hints of the purple in my brush working their way out, so we've got more colors that we're adding without even trying, just simply by not washing a brush out. When you're using colors that look nice together and that are complementary, you don't have to worry about making a muddy mess. I know a lot of you are always like, how are you not making it all muddy? But sometimes you do want muddy colors, especially when you're using a lot of vivid colors. It's nice to it's a great way to calm those down and bring the whole painting together by having some earth tones or muddy tones. But when you're using complementary colors that look pretty together, you don't have to worry about that. It will work nicely together. So my brush now looks like this, and I can't really make nice shapes anymore. This is normal for mop brushes to do this, so I always recommend having a few on hand. I'm going to wash this out now. And I've got another one ready to go. I'm going to take some of my beautiful phthalo turquoise. This has got to be my top 3 favorite colors to use right now. It's just such a gorgeous, it's so rich, like it's beautiful for a forest, fantasy landscapes, you name it. And I'm going to start adding it on these trees over here. You can see how deep and dark that violet is because it almost looks black. Now if we take a little bit of white, mix that in with our phthalo turquoise, just tapping. We're just gonna add a few lighter areas here. We're gonna pick up a little bit of that wet, deep purple that looks black. We're gonna pick that up and make it stand out a little bit more so it's still darker on this side, but it's kind of coming to life and looking exciting, these colors. If you're not excited by your painting and the colors you're using, you really need to be using different colors, because that's really what you should be feeling. You should be enjoying the process of painting, what you're working on. Otherwise you might be doing it all wrong, guys. It's about that headspace. And for me, I just love, absolutely love using color. And I'm gonna start tapping in some down here at the base of the trees, and some even kind of turning the angle of my brush. I'm not pulling like this, I'm changing the angle as I tap to make it look like some climbing vines up the side of the tree. Let's go ahead and add some down here as well. And then I'm going to take a little bit more phthalo turquoise white and a little bit of amethyst. And this is going to give us a beautiful kind of blue violet shade. And I'm going to add it, look at that, I'm going to add it right there. It's just amazing all the different shades and tones of colors you can make by mixing blues and purples and turquoises together and then adding a little bit of white. You really can do a lot with a limited palette if you wanted to. I like to add a little bit of water to the end of my brush after I'm done using it, and it'll kind of help to release some of that paint out. And I just kind of hold it, pull, lightly pull, like you're painting waterfalls. We're going to choose a few areas to just pull down and create some dripping moss. I can go in for a little bit more paint. Gently pull. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. A little bit of water. Okay, now I'm going to rinse this brush out. I'm going to go back over to my number 2 rigger brush, get it wet, go back into my dark colors, my violet and my phthalo turquoise. By the way, if you don't have the same shades and paints I'm using, you can use anything you've got, really. It's just personal preference, and the point is to just create. Just start somewhere. Even if you don't have professional grade paints, use whatever you have. So I'm just gonna, with a little bit of water, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna add a few branches here that stand out. The same way we did earlier. If you missed that, you might want to skip back to more of the beginning. There should be timestamps though. So you're learning a lot of basic beginner techniques in here. And again, I have made specific tutorials for how to load and use all the brushes. So if you're watching now and you're like, oh, I really have a hard time with a liner brush, I don't want to use that, I've got all the tricks for you. I know it's tough for you because I've been teaching classes for a long time, and all the students say the same thing. It's always the liner brush that stresses everybody out. And I get it, because I was right there with you guys when I first started. And the trick is to use the end of it and water and a little pressure if you want to create these delicate little wispy branches that are very important in a landscape and a tree. You want to have these little ones here. Now you can even add a little bit of water to the end of your brush and pull in the sweep the same way we did with the mop brush. Add a little bit of white in with that, and we get this kind of frosty grape color. Lightly pull a little bit of water in there again. See? How pretty is that? Some light lavender. Just sweeping down there. Looks so graceful. Could be wisteria. It's whatever you want it to be. That's what I love about art. There's no rules. There shouldn't be any rules. No one should tell you if you're doing it right or doing it wrong. All I like to do is show you my techniques and what I've learned and taught myself over the years, and it might help you out. It might get you out of your art funk. You know, maybe you're blocked. Artists get blocks just like writers get writer blocks. And maybe you just needed to see some color today. Maybe something in this video kind of spoke to you and helped you out. And I hope it did. I'm going to add a few little lighter purple branches in here. I'm going to rinse this brush out now, and I'm going to use another one of my 1-inch mop brushes. So what I want to do is start adding a little bit more of the aqua, bright aqua green turquoise. I'm going to add a little bit of white to it. Push and tap to load. I haven't added any water to this brush because water will make it flat and it won't be this poofy, soft, beautiful shape. So we want this shape. Now what I'm going to do is kind of just bring this area out a little bit. So I'm going to lightly tap. We still want this to be the darkest part, but we just want to add a little bit of this minty green, a little here and there. The tree is going to dry a little bit darker. Always know that about acrylics, okay? It's normal. You're not doing anything wrong if you happen to notice the next day when you look at your painting and you're kind of wondering, you know, like what happened. It was not that dark a few days ago, or even it might even be a few hours depending on how long it takes for how warm your area is. If it's warm in your room, then the painting's gonna dry a lot quicker, which is important to know for your painting, your palette. If it's drying really quickly, you might have your paint on something that's porous, that soaks up the paint and it disappears or dries up. So I have a waterproof palette. This is actually just one of my canvases I bought at the store with the plastic still on it. it works beautifully. I'm using this because I'm actually out of my disposable paper palettes, but this works really great. And after, the fun part is when it's all dry, it just peels off. It's kind of satisfying to pull it off after. But yeah, so that's going to keep your paint wet a lot longer, you guys, having a waterproof palette. And I'm going to just add a little bit right in here of this pretty soft minty color that we made with a little bit of titanium white and the bright aqua green turquoise. I'm going to add a little bit in here, and just look how pretty these colors look together. I especially love this light bright aqua green with the light purple. I think it's really pretty and complementary together. I'm gonna add a little bit, make it a little fuller here along the edge. Now, the next brush we're going to be using, this one here, my number 14 filbert brush. It's such a great size for small or larger paintings. And the next thing I want to do is I'm going to just dry this all off, and then we're going to come in and add a little bit of a, I'm going to add a little bit more of my Luminous Opera pink, and I'm going to glaze over a little bit in here with some soft pink and a little bit more yellow. So if you're just tuning in now, I dried this all off. I'm going to show you how to add a glaze. When glazing, you need to use transparent or luminous colors, luminous paints. So what I'm going to do is show you how you can do that with a little filbert brush here, my 14 filbert brush, which is available now on Craftimo. Got a set of 5 brushes that are available for the third and final time. And I'm just going to take a little bit of my yellow, a little bit of that pink, make sure that I don't have too much on my brush. Now I'm going to add a little bit back here. I'm going to go over part of the light in the path. So see how you can go over those base colors. You can even take a little bit of white with it, and we can start adding over. Now you just want to have a tiny bit of water in your brush, and that'll help release it. So we're enhancing what's already there. Yes, we're painting over it, but not all of it. And it's like when you put on a pair of sunglasses that have maybe a pink filter or a brown, you know, you can get different tones to your glasses, and it'll kind of tint what you're seeing, embellish it, and make it look a little enhanced. That's what this is like. You're seeing the same thing, image, but maybe through rose-colored glasses or whatever. Now this is also a bit of a dry brush. The thing about the term dry brush is that it's not completely dry. It is a brush that you've rinsed out, you know, kind of dried off the majority of the water on the towel, but it has a little bit of dampness into it, or in it left. And that's the only way the paint is going to come out properly. So you can apply like a glaze with more water over top of everything, or you can just come in little areas and dry brush like this. And I'm going to go into just the yellow now. Kind of mix it up with a bit of that water in my brush, and I'm going to go over and create some light greens here, because this luminous lemon over part of the turquoise is going to give us some pretty shades of some bright green. And then we can also create a little bit of orange, peach, You know, you can intensify it as much as you want or as little as you want. You can bring up the tint and the saturation by the amount you use, and it's a really easy way to completely enhance a painting and change the look of it. What I would like to do next is add a little bit of white, just straight white. I've rinsed my brush out. A little bit of white right in the middle here, just a little area like this, kind of just like a little oval, or again, a little egg shape. I'm going to pick up a little bit of white, yellow, and see how pretty that color is. A little bit of white, turquoise, bright aqua green here, and the yellow. And I'm going to add a little bit of this here because I do want to tone. Maybe you guys like the bright kind of lime green. I like it, but to me it was a bit too distracting. I want to keep this really calm looking. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of light maybe hitting right there, a little bit right there. Rinsing my brush out, and I'm going to go back to a little bit of pink and white. I'll just bring this out a little bit more so you can see, very soft petal pink. And I'm just going to give it a little pink dusting. Then yellow and white. A little bit of yellow and white. And we're going to get a little closer to that sun, our little oval shape. I'm going to bring it down here in the middle of our little path. Okay, the next brush I'm going to use is the 20 flat brush. I'm going to show you how to paint just some very gentle looking sun rays, and you want to have a little bit of water in your brush for this. So I'm going to go back over to my white and my yellow. You can have a little bit of pink in there too. Your sun rays can be tinted, right? They don't have to be straight white, but what you do want is to have them transparent. So you want to have a little bit of water in there to thin the paint out and make it transparent. You can also use zinc white. Zinc white is transparent, but I'm using opaque. Titanium white, it's very opaque. So I'm just going to start from the center using kind of the corner of my brush here, just right here. And then I'm going to pull lightly. Okay, so just like really, really light. It almost makes them look kind of iridescent with all those soft colors. This light peachy, pinky yellow color over the purples and the blues and the turquoise. Okay, just a little bit like that, and then I'm just going to take a teeny bit more here. A bit more of that yellow and the same colors, the yellow and the pink. And I'm going to pull this one down, make it a little bit larger. I thought we would just finish up down here with a few little simple flowers. I always like to add a few little daisies or even little mushrooms, whatever you like. You could add a little butterfly, but I'm going to show you a simple way of painting some flowers. We'll be using the 3 round brush for this. I'm going to take some of this light purple. Use a little bit of, let's take a little bit of the turquoise with it. Okay, and then all I'm going to do is just add a few little light pulls. I'm going to go around, around from the bottom and pull into the center, but you can leave the center dark so that you have a center of your flower. And then add a few that are just, you can only see one side of them so that you have different angles to your flowers and they're not all pointing the same way. So these ones are, the top of the flower is hanging over, and then start seeing the sides and then the bottom. And then you might want to take a little bit of a darker color, say purple or dark blue, and just add it in the middle. I'm going to go up and over just slightly there for the center of that one. Pick up a little bit of my light colors there. Now I'm going to be signing my painting right here, so this is kind of a nice little area I'm going to leave blank for my signature. And I like to use, sometimes I use like a gold Sharpie or like a little acrylic pen, and sometimes, actually most of the time to be honest, I just use a really small liner brush. We could add a little bit in here. I'll add a little bit of white to my turquoise, and it's always nice to just add a few little flowers as a finishing touch. I think we tend to paint things that we love, and you should. Never paint for somebody else, always paint for yourself, because you want to stay true to yourself and enjoy what you're painting. Okay, so I'll just add the center of these flowers, and I'll go back to my, I'm just making purple because I've run out of purple, so I've got leftover pink and my phthalo turquoise. I can use that. So again, these brushes are now available. I'll have a link below. This is what your box will look like with one of my paintings on it. And we receive this beautiful art print. I have a full tutorial, a nice velvet box that they come in, and they've got little caps, plastic caps to keep them, all the bristles together. And it's just a really beautiful display box for some excellent brushes. They're cruelty free, and I hope you all get a chance to purchase a set of these. You're really going to love them. I want to thank you guys so much for all your support. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I've got over 1,000 different tutorials. I've categorized them into playlists for you so you can find just what you're looking for, whether it be flowers, animals, black and whites, how to paint in acrylic for beginners, tons of landscapes and fantasy, tropical seascapes, anything you want, you'll find here, portraits and figures. So I love painting and I love teaching. Thanks for being here and supporting. I'll see you guys all soon in my next video. Take care. Bye.